back to the drug aware Margaret River Pro. Big beatings and huge turns laid down by the world's best here. Day 4 of competition.
Performance leader in the earlier stage of that round 3. Got Michel Bourez getting the first wave of this heat. He put on a nice performance too. I mean, he looks solid. A couple of his maneuvers that he did in round 3, if he can keep up with that or find a combo, those types of moves, we can see him get those big scores that we saw John get earlier, and even Adriano de Souza. But
already, so these guys are really facing that windy surf for the first time. And here we go. In white here, John Florence trying to find this open face, and he lays into a big layback jam. And again, a monster sweeping turn through to the inside, and he's going to try and finish it off here, but just gets pile driven.
I mean, you sit there and I chuckle, and the reason why I chuckle is because it's John. And you just think, oh, at some point someone's going to just appear out of nowhere, and you're going to hear me scream like a high-pitched hyena again.
Here goes Coffin on his first ride. A little sleepy at the moment, still looking for that big steep wall, and he decides to get out of there, not committing to with John Florence. Where does he fit in?
It's unique to him. To be honest, at the performance level that he's at, there's really nobody that's been able to do some of the stuff that he's done. You know, the backflips and all of that stuff. But even on the face, he's got such a unique style to everybody else that it's to each his own, really. I mean, he's designed it and brought it up. It's not like he's emulating anybody. Nice drone footage here to see. You know, he worked really hard to get to that section, and one of the tricks that he did right there to keep his speed up was stay tight to the section, and he pumped right next to the whitewater. You know, he's been doing his turns super early, his bottom turns. He's been doing mid-face bottom turns, and at that point, he almost pumped to get down the line. A lot of guys wouldn't have even made it to that open face, but he was able to get that 6-2 and drive through the bottom. There was like 3 bottom turns before he got there, and he knew how important this next sections were going to be, and he laid into it. It's still going to be a great score, even with the fall.
It's going to be a huge score, an 8 for John Florence. And had he ridden out of this one, it probably would have gone into the 9s.
All right, this is when you...
At the moment, but he has ticked a lot of boxes, most of them last year. As we see now, John up again, looking for a backup. And it's his tactical game which has seen his competitive career really come on strong these past couple of seasons. And there's a big finish, no mistakes this time.
All right, John, now you put up 2 good numbers. Floramine.
Competitor, when they take a wave out here, if they don't get major turns on the inside, you know they're going to do something really committed when they get to that closeout section, and that's exactly what John did to save this ride.
He did, but even that first section, and this was one of those bumpy set waves, you know, it wasn't an easy section to do any kind of maneuvers on. Even that final move, you know, it had a lot of chunk in it. And so he did well to make these legit turns in a wave that most everyone else would have been just skittering. And again, there's that final move, the big layback gash, and that is fully committed in a very difficult section. Knows how important it is to ride down at the bottom, and right here, that allows you see Julian do that, where he turns against the foam, so when it comes against your bottom of your board, it's going to push you forward and out.
We'll come back to that in a moment. John taking off, and looking left now, just for something different. Drives up into the bowl. It's a nice swooping backhand arc, and now goes vertical. This guy's on fire at the moment. He loves surfing over here with the jersey on and without, and he's just enjoying himself at the moment. But I was going to ask you, Pete, do you ever watch the Ockcast, Mark Ocalupos?
I do. I maybe stole it from him then, right? No, but that's...
Look, this wave's not even really going to factor into the heat, so I'm going to keep talking anyway. But Joe talked about that, and I agree with him. I think that will eventually happen, but I think what we're going to see happen really soon is performance levels lifted in big waves. We've seen it in John's free surfing clips more recently, but we've seen it in competition today. The way he surfed, no, but it's, oh yeah, well, it does factor into the heat, but still. he can give us more.
I know he can. You're absolutely right.
But
the
way he surfed today was like a 4-foot day at Beach Park, like Barton Lynch had mentioned. But here we go, Michel Bourez trying to stay on pace. This wave's not going to do it for him. Needs a 7.77 just to break combination.
But you would think so. I mean, but he's
hanging by his side. As we go now to Coffin on the outside. Such a hard wave to surf here at the moment, but Connor doing very well.
Hold on.
And he just gets launched as those two swells come together.
That's kind of a new technique. Maybe you just get launched above, except himself. Let's take a look at his replay here. Oh, geez, a big drifting layback. We missed that part. And then this is where we caught up with him. So now we know why he made that choice. This could easily fit into his top two. As a matter of fact, it does. Well, if you got him on your fantasy, look at this. Now that is commitment, and then the drift. Remember we did that this morning. He fell onto his board and went into Coffin, popped up, no worries. But this time, drifts. So he makes an adjustment and pulls it off, and now puts up a gigantic number. Right back into it again, mid-face bottom turn, holding a ton of speed. Very unique.
I'll just touch on how difficult it is too, Pete, to surf with that much foam and bump on the face.
It is. It's it's a latte you're going through, and it's not easy to engage fins or anything. But sometimes I guess you can utilize it to your advantage, where he did there. Where it's like you're going to get released pretty easily, and he drifted.
So 9.73 for John Florence. As we have a look at the replay here for Connor, yeah.
Well, Connor, he's almost got that kind of snowboard-esque. His cars are going to be much more lengthy through the entire section. This one here, look, it gets lifted up, and if he had pulled that off, I think he would have gotten himself probably close and be at that John level, because it's so high at this point in time. It's like, hey, I'm not surfing against him right now. I just need to win this heat and not let it affect you, because it could easily, where you're like, I got to do what that is, I got to compare myself to that. Like that's where I feel like, doing stuff that is above and beyond anything we've seen, that affects the rest of the field.
Michel Bourez with a brief right there, and now John Florence loading up, looking like he wants to throw down something big for us. Bit of foam on the face here to deal with. Committing to this ride and just banking hard. And, he almost hangs on. It's just under 9 minutes remaining as we see the replay of this last ride. Came through to 6.6.
You were right. We knew, and he knew, he was looking for something. There was a choice of wave there that, was a certain size that maybe he was going to get given that flip section.
The entertainer.
About him making a comeback, getting out of combo, getting excited. It was a good size wave too. I mean, he's definitely charging it. Not an easy section to be tagging either. That thing was frothy and bouncy and nice strong arc, but this move needed to pull it off if you wanted to really get up into contention to rival John. Love these drone angles. Get that new kind of look from up above. Does take away from the size of the wave, but sure can understand how difficult those sections are with all that bounce.
I think here at main break too, you can't play down just how important it is to skip around. The conditions can be so tricky day to day, but you can find yourself in a round 5 heat, and it could be lully, it could be really onshore, it could be difficult to set a rail. You might not find that connection through to the inside, so it's a massive advantage for John if he's able to hang on here and jump through to the quarters.
To your body and to your feet so quickly, so much different, whereas the poly will dampen that effect. It'll smooth it out, make it feel a little less abruptive, but that feeling is also alive, and that's why guys get attracted to it.
Well, Connor taking a fall there. We also had a split peak. Michel Bourez heading left.
But that's a sizable wave. We didn't get to really see what happened here, but he's not holding back is what John's doing. A 1.5 for just absolutely attacking a 10-foot wave. And here, one of the bigger waves that Michel has taken off on this heat, claiming it.
probably on the priority. Michel Bourez still fighting at this stage. Had a 7.83 a couple of waves ago. Has some big moves that he can rely on. Just needs to link them together. A couple of solid turns so far. And he throws everything at the oncoming section. Looks to complete, but can't quite ride out.
Final moves are really going to come back to bite him. One 7-point ride with some strong maneuvers on it, so there's the flashes of brilliance. If he again cleans it up in round 5, we could see him in, or sorry, yeah, in round 5 we could see him into the quarters. You know, and again, it's going to will probably be here at in main break for the rest of the event. I mean, fingers crossed that we might get the opportunity, but most likely we're going to be seeing it here, so you can kind of gauge what performances we'll see going forward off of what today had for us.
John Florence making his way in. Another very dominant run here at the drug-aware Margaret River Pro. A hefty heat score total, and his rivals just could not find the answers. 19.16. This is the man to beat.